Most guys rely on motivation to get things done. I'm sure you've heard him say a million times, oh yeah, I don't have the motivation to go to the gym right now. I don't have the motivation to study or make healthy food. Motivation is unreliable. If you're going to succeed in life, you need discipline. Which is why in this video, I'm not just going to give you some random burst of motivation like all these other cute little motivation style discipline videos. But I'm actually going to give you the exact steps to follow that will make you more disciplined than 99% of the population. So why is it that so few people are disciplined today? Instant gratification. I'm sure you heard of it before. Instant gratification is defined as activities that spike your dopamine up really, really high, really, really fast. Dopamine can be thought of as the happy molecule. When you feel it, it makes you feel happy. So, for example, let's say you're feeling pretty hungry, so you eat a whole tub of ice cream. When you're eating that ice cream, your dopamine levels are super, super high because it tastes good and you're enjoying yourself, and it's really awesome. But because of such a rapid spike in dopamine, you have a dopamine crash. It crashes way down. So now, after you finish eating this entire tub of ice cream and you're super fat now, you feel ashamed and depressed and you feel terrible. So what's the solution to instant gratification? The solution is delayed gratification. Delayed gratification is defined as activities that don't immediately spike your dopamine, so you don't feel amazing about them while you're doing them, but you feel amazing days or weeks or even months after doing the activity. It's like reading a book, for example. While you're reading a book, you don't feel a ton of satisfaction. You're feeling pretty normal dopamine levels, right? But weeks or even months after you finish the book, then you feel happy. You're like, wow, I just gained all this like important knowledge. I'm so happy I read this book. But you weren't feeling any of that while you're reading the book. That's delayed gratification. And it's better than instant gratification because one, it's really meaningful. And two, there's no crash after because it rose so slowly over time. Before we get into the exact steps to build discipline, let's define what discipline actually is. Discipline is when you do a task despite lacking the internal motivation to do it. So if you're looking forward to a task and you really love doing it, like let's say you really enjoy working out. Unfortunately, working out isn't going to build discipline for you then. I'm not saying you should hate working out, but that doesn't build discipline when you actually like what you're doing. So what are the steps we can take to build discipline? First up, change your mindset. I cannot stress this enough. You will not turn into David Goggins overnight. Discipline isn't something where you just hear some kind of piece of information and then it just clicks in your brain. You're like, wow, I'm going to make every choice of my life more disciplined from now on. It doesn't work like that. Discipline is like every other skill in life. You have to start small before you build your way up. Let's look at it this way. Let's say you're learning guitar and you idolize this guitarist who's been playing for like 30 years and he's like super good and you know nothing about guitar. Of course, you would have to start from the very beginner guitar skills and work your way up, which could take years upon years. But you wouldn't just jump straight into like some insanely difficult songs because you would definitely just quit immediately because it wouldn't work out, right? Discipline is just like that. You have to start small before you achieve like David Goggins level motivation. If you do actually just jump straight into the David Goggins level motivation stuff while your discipline is pretty mid, which let's be honest, if you're watching this video, your discipline is pretty mid, then you'll get stuck in the motivation cycle. The motivation cycle is when you get a quick burst of motivation and you might actually get a lot of things done, you know? You might actually hit some solid workouts, get a lot of studying done, check everything off your checklist, you know? And then after a few days max, that motivation fades and then you're right back to where you started from and you're not doing any of the working out or studying or whatever discipline things you were doing before. You're just right back to where you started. And then you get another burst of motivation and you do it again. And you just end up in this cycle where you just keep on burning out for every few days because you're not relying on discipline, you're only relying on motivation. I can't even begin to tell you the amount of times I've been stuck in this cycle. I've probably been stuck in this cycle for like years on end in my life. But I did realize that the only way out of the motivation cycle is to slowly build up your discipline. Just simply trying harder is not going to get you out of the motivation cycle. That's just going to keep you in the motivation cycle. You're not going to get out by just trying harder. Yes, of course, you should try as hard as you possibly can, but if that's your only plan, then that's not going to get you anywhere. Step 2 is to set goals. You need to set goals so that you have a direction to work towards. If you don't have a direction to work towards, then your work is pretty much meaningless. A great way to use goals to build discipline is to set small goals each day. For example, maybe you're just starting out, so you set 3 goals today. Like, meditate for 5 minutes, go to the gym, and read 15 pages of my book. Now, these goals are great, but they could be improved so that they're a little more useful. We can make these goals a little more useful by applying the SMART goal format. Your goals must be specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time-bound. After applying this goal format, our goals now become meditate for 5 minutes on my bed at 7:30 a.m. tomorrow morning, go to the gym and hit this exact workout at 4:30 p.m. tomorrow, and read exactly 15 pages of my book at 6:30 p.m. on my desk. Over 1,000 studies show that setting high target and specific goals increase output, persistence, and motivation compared to just normal vague goals. Psychologist Edwin Locke noted that 90% of the time, people actually exert more effort when they're pursuing a specific and challenging goal. Look at this study. Researchers told truck drivers to do their best with filling their trucks. The more the better. When told to do their best, the truck drivers filled the trucks to about 50 to 60% capacity. Then they told the truck drivers to fill their trucks to exactly 94% capacity. When told to fill their trucks to 94% capacity, they filled their trucks to an average of 90% capacity, a 30 to 40% increase. Most people live on 50% capacity. Just by setting specific goals, you could jump straight to 90%. Let's move on to the next step. Do more disciplined things. I'm talking like go out of your way to make things harder for yourself, because hardships are exactly what builds discipline. And if you never endure anything insanely hard and you just live your life in your comfort zone, then you'll honestly just never be successful. You must create your own hardships and expectations of yourself and then strive to achieve those. A good example of this is cold showers. Nobody has to do cold showers. You could just use warm water. But when you do cold showers, obviously, yeah, there's like a whole bunch of health benefits and stuff. But one of the major benefits of it is discipline, because it hardly gets easier. Like, I've been doing it for like over a year now, and it still feels as difficult as when I first started out. Another great way to build discipline through making things harder for yourself is through working out. And I don't mean just like normal training till comfort. I mean like training till absolute failure almost every set. That physical exercise is one of the best ways to build discipline. The last step to build discipline is to eliminate distractions. Almost everybody has some type of distraction in your life, and you probably know what it is. The distractions in your life are probably like social media, video games, and like bad food. But fortunately, this step is pretty simple. All you have to do is literally just eliminate it from your life. It's not that hard. You don't have to think about it, okay? Just get rid of it. Pretty hard to like eat a whole tub of ice cream when there's no ice cream in your house. Because chances are when you want to eat ice cream but you don't have any, you're probably not going to get up and go to the store, buy it, and like come all the way back and eat it, right? So why doesn't everybody just eliminate these things from their lives? Well, they lie to themselves, and deep down they do know that it would probably be best to eliminate these things from their lives. They cope and they tell themselves like, oh, social media is not that bad for me. I don't spend that much time on it. And it's like, you know, I need to like keep up with like the world somehow. Like, I've literally advised to so many people to just like uninstall social media, and they're like, oh, well, you know, it's not that bad, and you know, I don't spend that much time on it, and their screen time is like 8 hours a day. It's like, okay, well, and they're just coping and like clinging on to like this instant gratification because they don't want to let go of it, and they're like, their brains are like that programmed to like only want instant gratification. If there's no good reason for something to be in your life, then eliminate it. Right now, I want you to pause this video and then go and uninstall TikTok. Because you know there's no real reason for it to be in your life. It doesn't help you out and just waste your time. There's no real reason that you'll be like, man, I wish I had TikTok for this reason. That would be so useful to my life right now. Right? Like, you're not going to be like 6 years old and you're not going to be like, man, I wish I spent more time on TikTok as a child. Like, if you're really about discipline and becoming successful in life, then I guarantee you'll uninstall TikTok right now. But if you're not, then it's okay. You don't have to be about being successful in life. You can keep scrolling through TikTok. It's okay. I uninstalled TikTok like 2 years ago, and there hasn't been one time where I've been like, man, I really wish I had TikTok right now. This sucks. Right? If you're like a content creator or you're like trying to like sell a product on TikTok or you're using TikTok Shop, then like fair enough. But if you're not doing that, then it really serves no purpose. And your friends might make fun of you for like uninstalling TikTok, but to be honest, if your friends are making fun of you for uninstalling TikTok, then you probably need new friends anyways. Alright, now to recap all that, the first step is change your mindset. Have lower expectations and start small to avoid the motivation cycle. Step 2 is set specific goals, start small, and work your way up to the big goals. Step 3, actively go out of your way to do more hard tasks every day. Step 4, eliminate all distractions and only keep what is truly important to you. Remember that discipline is a marathon, not a sprint. And if you do start taking this seriously, you need to remember that failure is inevitable and you will slip up eventually. Let's say one day you're feeling pretty lazy, so you eat like a whole bunch of ice cream, and then after you realize like, man, that was such a bad idea. I'm so ashamed of myself. I'm so stupid. Why did I do this to myself? If you start getting down on yourself after you fail, which is gonna happen eventually, like let's be realistic, then getting down on yourself is probably worse than doing the actual bad thing. Because getting down on yourself is what makes you less motivated in the future and far less likely to actually get stuff done. And it causes you to enter a rut. But if you ate that ice cream and you're like, you know what, that was a bad thing, I shouldn't have done it anyways, but I'm just gonna keep going, boom, you just avoided that rut and you prevented yourself from dipping down like that much further. Discipline and staying consistent is so much easier when you're positive with yourself. Make sure to like and subscribe because I work pretty hard to make these videos, and I'll be making plenty more self-improvement content in the future. And if you have any video ideas or recommendations, leave it in the comments. Bye.